Don't come at all.
This is the Hartzog Hustle Podcast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And we're talking about the hustle, strategy, and mindset you need to win in the areas of your finance, your purpose, and your future.
Know what I'm saying?
If you have heart and you want to learn how to activate the power of your hustle, then this is the podcast for you, baby.
Congratulations.
And now, your hosts, Anthony and Janilka Hartzog.
This is how it should be done.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition, another episode, another something of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. As always, I am your host, Anthony Hartzog, and I'm joined here by my beautiful wife, Mrs. Hartzog. What's up, ma'am?
Hey, as soon as you started talking, I'm like, damn, I don't got my review together. But hello, everyone. Welcome back for another episode.
While she gets that, if you guys are new here, please like, subscribe, share the show. We're always trying to grow. We're always trying to help more people. So it is in our best interest and your best interest to help your community, man. Because if we're not sharing information, what are we doing with it? So without further ado, we're going to have the review of the week, hopefully.
Yes, I do. Okay, don't be shady. Not with the hopefully. So thank you for those that are leaving reviews. Even more thank you to those that are writing a review.
Very important.
Take it all. So this is from Lone Star Lou. This podcast is an ideal listening gem. I enjoy tuning into the perspective of people that made it from point A to point B while still maintaining their vulnerability. Highly recommend. Thank you, Lone Star Lou, for thinking of us and writing us a review. As we said, please go ahead, write us a review, subscribe, share, comment, all of the above.
No, we always appreciate that because, again, it always helps. It helps us be able to help more people. So appreciate you guys doing that. And so what's up? Talk to me. What's going on?
No, I was going to ask you. You had a what? What were you about to say?
I was going to say I had a coaching call with someone about just podcasting. And as you guys know, we're always trying to get more information. And he was just like, figure out what your target audience is, right? Try to figure out who you're talking to when you create this podcast, who you're talking to each episode. Mm-hmm. And I think we have a general idea because we're talking to ourselves, I feel.
Our audience can't be ourselves, though.
That's what they say, right? Marketing is like your audience can't be yourself. Your audience can't be everyone. But I think we're always talking about 9-to-5ers. What's the statement? It's like, I actually wrote it down somewhere. Damn, where is it? Let me see if I can find it.
Don't get lost in what we got down for today.
Shoot. It is blank who blank and blank. So 9-to-5ers who are looking to turn their passionate hustle into profits and freedom.
Ooh.
I came up with that recently.
Okay.
So if you are one of those, we're gonna keep tweaking that. We're gonna keep figuring that out. But we're always looking to learn. So if you got any feedback, anything that we can improve on, anything you want to hear from us, let us know. Shoot us a comment, shoot us a DM, shoot us a message, and we'll make sure we get to it. So, how you feeling? What you been up to?
What have I been up to? I feel like life is always busy. Then I think back as to what were we doing before we had any side hustles or businesses? I have no idea. I got off for work and I was just hanging out watching SVU? I don't remember what was I doing? I don't know. No shade to that. SVU is one of my favorite shows. I just don't know what I was doing. But
shout out to SVU.
Now, yes, shout out to SVU. Law and Order. But
only Law and Order.
Yes.
Not the other SVUs.
Not the other Law and Orders.
Not the other Law and Orders.
Yes.
SVU. None of the other stuff.
But now I went back to the gym. So if you didn't know, we had a baby back in February, end of February. And I said to myself, because I work out regularly for the past, I think it's been 10 years now that I work out. So I said to myself that once 6 weeks, that's when you get the green light to do things again. I'm like, once 6 weeks hit, I am back in the gym. That didn't happen.
Which is okay.
So I went back at 9 weeks, which, okay. Still was just taking classes and stuff like that to get back into the groove of it. But then life still was happening, after work or people coming down, blah, blah, blah. So then finally I've been trying to be more consistent because I was like, let me start a program. We're going away on vacation. I'm like, this is it. I'm going to start a program and do it. Then I had a bachelorette weekend. Then we randomly had to go to New York. So I haven't been too consistent with my program, but I'm just excited that I'm going, basically. He's staring at me because he's like, I'm paying all this money at Equinox and I'm not going. But I'm just excited that I'm going, and I hope to get back to my routine and body in the upcoming like months. I never felt like, oh, I need to snap back, sorry, right away at all. But it's just more of because working out is part of my routine that I want to get back to it, basically.
With the workout program, did you buy it because you needed motivation? Did you buy it so that you could stay consistent?
So yeah,
what was the reason for that?
I bought it to stay consistent because generally I feel like, yeah, I like workout programs basically. And I also like the flexibility of going to classes also, so that if ever I don't want to do the program that day, I can go to class. Classes keep me motivated. They have, like you like to say, booty butt blasters, but they have different type of classes that I can do and they will challenge me. So I like to do that. But the reason I bought it was to stay consistent, really.
Yeah.
Because I figure it wasn't really a motivation thing. It didn't really cost too much. It was like whatever, but just to stay consistent and see my body transition back to what I know it can be.
What it can be. And I got a trainer and he creates workout programs for me too. And I feel like I did that same reason as you did, so I could stay consistent, but also it's one less thing to worry about too.
Like, you go in the gym, like what I'm going to do?
Most of us go to the gym and we're trying to wander around. We're trying to figure out what works best for our bodies and this, that, and the third.
I'll be looking at my workouts the day before.
Yeah, but I pay a trainer so that he knows what workouts I can do. He knows what workouts I can't do. And I'm not in there wasting time. I'm not in there trying to figure out, all right, can I do a back row? No, my back is messed up. I can't do that. So I think having someone who can help you stay consistent, if it takes that thought process out of it, it takes that mindlessness out the gym, and I'm all for it. But I'm not for paying for Equinox if we're not going to be using the membership, though.
I am using the membership.
That's different.
I use the membership. I'm not going as much as I used to, though. I used to be going to the gym 4 to 6 times a week. But the way life has been happening, it's the summer, things are moving, life is happening. I haven't been able to go that often. But I went 4 times last week, and that's the most I've been since being back.
Yeah, so. I mean, a lot's happening in our lives. We just got back from New York.
Yep.
We was out there at my grandmother's funeral, and I think it was a good experience. I think that
I don't know if you can say a funeral was a good experience.
I would say it was maybe good is not the right word, right? I think it was an experience that would push or progress my family forward. If you guys probably don't know, but I'm not too close to my family. On my mother's side, reasons we're not gonna talk about that today, but I think going to that funeral and having Alani there, our daughter, helped me progress some of those relationships that may have been lost over the years, and gave me an incentive. I think Alani gave me incentive and my grandmother passing to kind of heal those relationships too. So I feel like that was a really tragic experience, but I think it's going to help our family in the long term. I don't think that death has to be this miserable experience. People ask me like, "Hey, how you feeling? Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." Like it was. We knew it was going to happen. You know, we knew she didn't have much time. So those last few, weeks or months, people were just trying to spend as much time with her. And I think Alani brought a lot of light to a dark place during that time. So
I could agree with that. It was the first time that, Alani's only 4 months. So if you haven't flown down here, you haven't seen her, right?
Yeah.
Basically. So it was the first time that your family was getting to meet her. And even some of my family was able to come by in those 2 days that we were there to meet her. So that was good. And she's a really happy baby. So everybody's just like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
She stayed so quiet. She does this. She does that. She's excited. So I agree that I think that she brought light to the situation.
Yeah. So let's get to what we're talking about today. So we had listened and watched the...
If you didn't know, we're from Brooklyn, New York. So...
what they got to do with anything?
It don't have much, but introducing... Go ahead and say who you're introducing.
What the Brooklyn got it? Oh, okay. So we watched the Kevin Hart and JayZ interview. We're going to talk about some business reflection points because there's a lot of things that was happening during the interview.
Sign, by the way.
It was a lot of points that was coming out during the interview and it's funny because we were watching it and we're stopping and having conversations as we're watching. I'm like, this would be a good topic. So we stopped talking during it. It was like, all right.
11 o'clock. We wasn't coming up here to record.
Yeah, we wasn't recording. So we stopped talking about it as it was happening. But we took notes because we watched... we were watching these other TV shows like Housewives. we'll reflect on what's happening and how it can relate.
We literally always mention Housewives. That's all we watch.
That's what we watch.
SVU and Housewives.
Yeah,
literally is what is on in this house.
But we'll talk about business and how it relates, whatever we're watching, how it relates to our lives, even when it comes to the marriage stuff or finances or relationships. We'll talk about how it reflects on our life and what we take away from it as it's happening. As you know, we're not the people that's just going to watch it and just, all right, cool, it's done. It's like, nah, I want to, what lesson are we getting out of this? Why are we watching it? And what's the goal of us watching it?
We may not be. I may be that person. You are not that person because I can watch something.
You're definitely watching. Let's move on.
All right, cool. That was that was fun. Yeah. But no, I enjoyed it. One, because we recently had this conversation. I don't remember. We were talking about EYL, and they had Steve Hart. Earn Your Leisure is a big podcast in the entrepreneurship space. They had Steve Harvey, and he was able to get Tyler Perry for a workshop they have coming up. InvestFest they have coming up in Atlanta. So we were like, well, who's bigger than Tyler is what we were saying. Like, they're getting to interview. We're like, who's bigger? We're like, oh, it could be Oprah. How are you considering, what do you consider bigger? Culturally, financially, like maybe impact. Oprah, impact, is it Kanye? And Tony had mentioned JayZ. I'm like, well, JayZ don't do interviews. So it kind of like, it's not a conversation because he don't do. I mean, none of them do interviews. Beyonce's, Rihanna, all these big artists, they don't really do interviews. And so then it came out maybe 2-3 days later that Kevin Hart had an interview with him. We're like, oh, okay.
So the clips is going viral, and the name of his podcast or show or whatever you want to call it is called Heart to Heart. Number one, take action on your idea because we
use that hashtag.
We use that hashtag.
2017.
Go look it up. Heart to Heart spelled the same way.
We were talking about the 5 love languages or whatever, or just about marriage and love, and we use that. We use Heart to Heart.
So take action on your idea. Don't just sit there and think about this idea. If you're watching this, listen to this. Take action on your idea because it could be the next big thing that's out there. So shout out to Kevin Hart for taking our Heart to Heart and using it and making money from it.
Even though Hart is his last name, but we
Hartzog. Hartzog. We took the Heart. We did that already.
I hear you, brother.
But he took it. He turned it into a business. So we're gonna have some takeaways that we had and some gems, and we're gonna obviously put our spin on it. So what you want to start with?
One thing was getting advice from people who getting advice from people who don't do what you want to do. So I'm always indifferent about this. You understand what I said?
You might want to repeat it because you was mumbling. What the hell are you saying?
Getting advice from people who don't do what you want to do. That's clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm always indifferent about this because I feel like just because somebody doesn't do what you want to do doesn't mean that they can't understand it, right? But then on the other side, I'm like, some things you do have to experience to be able to give me advice on. It kind of varies. Like some people say, like, for example, some people like if I'm married and I'm going to talk to a single friend, they'd be like, why would you talk to your single friend? They ain't married. Mm-hmm. They're not going through what you're going through. And I'm like, but they still have a mind. They still have an opinion of like what's happening in life. So you can still get some type of guidance from them. But then on the flip side of it, I think about entrepreneurship and businesses. I ain't going to talk to my friend that don't got a business.
Yeah.
Now, can they understand business? Absolutely. But if you've never kind of went through that journey and know of the ups and downs, the putting in money, the risks, all that type of stuff, I'm probably not going to talk to you about it. So I can see two sides of speaking to someone about something that they're not going through or that they haven't done.
So the single one I don't agree with, number one. But I do think if you were married and you got divorced, you may be able to give me advice on marriage.
Okay.
I think that's the case everyone uses. Or if you had a business and your business failed, you may be able to give me advice on things you could have done better or things you're reflecting on. I think when you're getting advice from someone from a reflection period, that's a different conversation than getting advice from someone who's not where you want to be or doing what you want to do. So if they're reflecting and they're able to give you that feedback and advice, certainly get advice from them. But if not, keep it moving.
Okay.
So next one was the importance of reflecting on your accomplishments. So we talk about everyone's not an entrepreneur. Everyone doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. If you know anything about us, we don't even preach that you got to be an entrepreneur. We just want everyone to have to make money on the side of your 9 to 5. That's the whole purpose of.
And that doesn't have to be an entrepreneur.
Everybody doesn't have to be an entrepreneur, but our whole goal and purpose is to help you think about and create ways think about ways to create more income outside your 9 to 5, so you got freedom and flexibility, and eventually get to whatever goal that may be. So he talked about just people from your hood. Everyone from the hood is an entrepreneur because they're always trying to figure out how to get out. How can you hustle your way out?
The drug dealer is definitely an entrepreneur.
The drug dealer on the corner is an entrepreneur in some way, shape, or form. So reflecting on your accomplishments, that's something we talked about in...
Is the bodega owner entrepreneur? Yeah.
Who?
The bodega owner.
Bodega? Corner store guy? Yeah, definitely. I would say so. You own the business, you're an entrepreneur. Yeah. So he felt like all people from the hood are entrepreneurs because they're trying to think about hustling their way out of their circumstances. So... and reflecting on where you are was a very big part of the first portion of that interview. So reflecting on your accomplishments.
Being confident in your ability and yourself. Where do you learn confidence from? I think from family, friends, your environment, I would say you learn confidence from. But as you get older, I think it also waxes and wanes. It goes up and down because you start to think more about things. As a child and as you grow, you're fearless, I feel. Yeah. But as you get older, you start to consider, but what if all these things that you probably weren't thinking about before, which at some point, I'm now able to weigh the risks more. Okay, you have more knowledge at some point, but then it also stops you. Mm-hmm. So gaining that confidence and believing in yourself and knowing that even if I don't launch this business, let's go with that, I still tried. I did all I could, and I learned something from it. I think that's the biggest thing that we always say is like, even if we fail at something, we learn something from it. Something I'm sure we got out of it. Something we got out of it, and we can take with us to other things that will excel and that will grow. And I think coming from New York, I think your confidence is just, coming from through the roof. But I think coming from harsh environments and making your way out, like it boosts your confidence like crazy. I don't feel like I had a harsh environment. Coming from an environment where you don't see a lot of people make it, I want to say. Coming from the projects, coming from Brooklyn, coming from the hood, you get out of that circumstance, and I think your confidence is through the roof. Because even if I go back to the friends group I had back in the day, it's not the same friends I have now, but I'm one of the, let's say, 10 people who made it out of my circumstances from my friend group. Every time we go back home and somebody sees they're like, yo, what's good, college boy? And like, so you get confidence having that, you get confidence making it out of those circumstances, I feel. So I think anybody coming from certain environments always has that level of confidence. Like, if I did that, I could do anything. Because the ratio of the probability of me getting out that environment is null and void. Yep. So it's more than likely not happening. They say the black man doesn't make it to 21 or 18, whatever the number is. That's probably the norm. So you getting past that age, that's why people are like, oh, I made it to 21. I'm out, I'm 36 now, but you feel like making it to 21 is a huge accomplishment for a black man in America. No, that's true. No, I definitely agree with that. So this one was, packaging your information and duplicating your success for others. Period. That's it's a good point. Time for a commercial break or us to speak on our lovely Chorus Cleaning Business University. Go ahead, do the commercial. No, you do the commercial. You always do the commercial. What's going on, guys? Like I'm like leaving and coming back, right? So Cleaning Business University, if you guys didn't know, we own a 7-figure cleaning business and we teach you how to grow and scale the cleaning business without cleaning houses. When we're talking about packaging your information, this is exactly what we did. We packaged our information in our cleaning business course. We had success. So we grew a 7-figure cleaning business outside of our 9 to 5 without cleaning any homes. So what we did was we saw success. We packaged the information. Now we're duplicating that success through others. We're giving them that information. Some of our students have done $400,000 in a year. Some of them have quit their 9 to 5. Some of them have opened 3 locations. Some of them are employing their kids. Some people bought a home with. Some people bought a crib with this information. So what JayZ talked about, cleaningbusinessuniversity.com, link is in the bio and show notes. Well, he didn't talk about the cleaning business. So when JayZ talked about packaging his information, he's like, yo, what is Rock Nation? Kevin Hart asked him about Rock Nation. He's like, yo, Rock Nation is just us packaging our information, duplicating billion-dollar success stories and passing it on to our peers. Rihanna, Kanye West,
And everyone has the same exact blueprint. You have a 9 to 5, which is your rap career, which is your artist career. Beyonce too has the same exact trajectory. They all have a job. The job is to make music. The job is to go on tour. The job is, that's what your job is. You take that 9 to 5 money, and now you take that 9 to 5 money, you start investing it in businesses. So Beyonce has Adidas. She has Ivy Park. Kanye West has Yeezy. He had Nike deals. Rihanna obviously has Fenty. And they're taking this 9 to 5 money and building brands and businesses around it to generate multi-generational income around it. And that's what he talked about Rock Nation was. He's like, that's all we're doing. Have the information, we're packaging it, we're giving it to our influencers, and they're replicating our success over and over again. LeBron James. 9 to 5 is basketball. 9 to 5 is basketball. You take that 9 to 5 money, you invest that in businesses, entrepreneurship, and that's all they're teaching and doing it over and over again. So
yeah. So that was a big one. That's something that we're like, all right, that's what we're doing, brother.
But you're giving them the information. They know the information works. Go ahead.
No, while we were listening, I had said, what's this for a conversation? Would you have a meal with JayZ or 50,000? Which one was it?
Would you take a meal with JayZ or like 50,000
Let's use
or
50,
100,000, whatever the number is.
5,000, whatever. So in watching it, I was like, this is why I would have picked a meal with JayZ. We had this conversation before in regards to Beyonce, which I'm obsessed with Beyonce, as we have her back there. And people were going crazy, like, why would you choose that? Blah, 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 mind your business. But in listening to him and his gems and I feel like you can take away stuff from people that will take you further and make you make more than that 50,000. The 50,000 is going to come and go. I understand different people, different circumstances, but for me, the 50,000 is probably going to come and go. But the message that I receive from him and the information that I get from him will be priceless, and I can take it on forever.
So instead of $50,000, if you got a chance to sit down with JayZ like Kevin Hart did, what was the question that you would have asked that wasn't asked on that call? On that thing that would make you more than $50,000. Personally, I would have probably asked, like, I would have
asked about Beyonce.
Listen, where I am in my career right now, where I am in my entrepreneurship journey, what can I do right now to propel my success that you wish you would have done at this stage in your career? That's something I would have did that would have been applicable to me directly. Kevin Hart wasn't really talking about himself in this interview. He was trying to help the masses with this information. But when I'm talking to people, I'm going to ask you about myself directly. What can I do right now? So that's probably something I would have asked, and I would have made me more than $50,000.
I would have asked in regards to maybe how him and Beyonce balance things out.
Okay.
Relationship and business and stuff like that all together. I don't know if you want to get into that tea, but
I would have something. That was another thing we said that we would. So we actually had this conversation while he was watching, and another question I would have asked is: do you make more money when you work alone, album and touring, or do you make more money when you work with your wife when you're doing albums and tours?
But I was saying the combined income automatically makes them more money. But you're saying like personally.
Yeah, personally. Okay. So JayZ, I'm sure he has to pay his team to do stuff like that, and she has to pay her team, and they may have their own incomes from that tour. Mm-hmm. But do you make more income individually when you're working by yourself, or do you make more income with Beyonce? And then it's like, all right, well, we need to follow that blueprint. I might need to do my own JayZ thing. And
we got our questions down, huh? So let's see if anybody can get that interview for us with JayZ. Or Beyonce, if you got the plug, let me know.
So I would ask questions that was directly correlated to me and where we are today. So another gem we got was, next one is yours.
Staying curious about the journey. So we are big on, we spoke about this, maybe we should drop that interview, that podcast episode, but just always educating ourselves and staying curious about what's going on. Really, Anthony's the one that brings information to the family. So we're happy that you do that and stay curious for us. But anything that comes up and to better ourselves, because as humans and adults, you never stop learning, right? You always say, learn something new every day, right? So it should be the same thing for your business, same thing for your entrepreneurship journey. We don't know everything about being entrepreneurs. We've had a business now for going on 5 years, right? That's really, long for some, really not that long for others. So we're constantly learning and wanting to learn so that we can excel. Like we said, we just had a call with a podcast coach. You're like, oh, probably didn't know that existed. Like, we have a business coach. We have a mindset coach. Soon we'll maybe have a podcast coach. So we're always learning and staying curious about everything that we're doing so that we can put out the best content and information.
Yeah, I think that was a big gem for me, because he's like, even where at my stage right now, him being JayZ, he's like, I'm always trying to figure out, I'm always trying to learn more. I'm always trying to put myself in rooms with people who are smarter than me so that I can be curious. Like we just had a call with our financial advisors in our team, and we invited friends and family, even if they weren't interested in it. It's like, it's always stay curious. You never know what gem you might get from talking to somebody. So always stay curious and curious about your journey.
I had skipped the one. Sorry. How much you want that one?
Yeah, of course. So value of having a brand. So we talk about like the Hartzog, like you got your shirt on the Hartzog. We got a big Hartzog sign over there. So the value of having a brand. So people, he mentioned, he being JayZ, and even Kev, he was like, there is value in people attaching themselves to my name. There is value in people attaching themselves to JayZ. And he's like, that brand is bigger than the person itself. He's like, my brand of JayZ, my brand of Kevin Hart is bigger than the name itself, just the namesake of or the individual. So if I can attach my brand to something that's bigger than myself, it's gonna outlast my legacy, right? So I'm not gonna. So
because Kevin Hart has a media thing, right?
Yeah, he has a Heartbeat Productions. He has I think he has a few things like that. And even so, JayZ, like they got the studios and they got the Rock Nation and stuff like that, sports. Because like if I can create something that's bigger than myself, which is my brand, is going to outlive my legacy. And I think that's what we're all trying to do here. We're trying to create a legacy that outlives our individual being. So I thought that was a good point.
Oh, this one is a good one about the younger generation changing the system. Because you always say, like, we know, we speak to some people online, and they're like 22 years old, right? Doing what we're doing now. We're 33. How old am I? I'm 33. We're 33 plus, and they're 22 doing what we doing now, and we're like, they are gonna be billionaires. They have to be. They have to be at the age that they're starting, and all the information that's out there that people can utilize, which I think is a good and bad thing. Because then I think you said somebody had wrote under your comment one time of like, yeah, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to make 100K. You like, listen, at 21, I was in college drinking Henny, not thinking about this. But it's like there's pressure because they see what is out there and all the information, but at the same time, there's a lot in their hands that they can do with it. So I guess it's it depends on how you balance it.
And that's a crazy balancing job you're trying to do too. If you like you mentioned that person that put that comment under us, like if you're 22, 25 and your goal is like, I want to make $1 million or I want to make 100,000, it's like, think about what the longevity of like what you're trying to do is. Like that money is great. That money is fantastic. You know your mother could watch her, right? You know your mother could watch her, right?
No, I know. She was texting me, asking me if she needs a bottle.
Oh, so we got our baby cam on. So you know, at a 22-year-old, I even told the 22-year-old, I was like, "Yo, you worrying about making $100,000? How about you figure out what your skills are? Like, figure out what your goals are versus trying to have this this I don't even want to call it obnoxious goal, but this monetary goal that you're trying to hit, which is great. You want to have goals, but figure out what you want to do to get there. What skills can you grow versus you trying to hit this $100,000, $1 million goal? So I think there is younger generations trying to definitely change the system. They're even doing this in the workforce. Like, yo, I don't want to work till I'm 65. Like, there is something out there for me. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get out. I'm going to create content. I'm going to do social media, whatever it may be. And they're not trying to be the ones that's working until they're dying at the end of the day. So I think the younger generation is showing us the way. Even, you know, we're pretty much young, but younger generation.
The younger generation, brother.
I think I'm the younger generation.
Not who JayZ was talking about. You ain't part of it. You ain't part of that generation.
Figuring out exactly what you want to do is great, but knowing that you got a long-term goal ahead is more important. So
speaking about you don't want to do this at 65, what does retirement mean? Let us know, brother, since you've been retired since December. What are we coming up? So
7 months.
7 months, yeah, full 7 months.
It depends on when this episode drops too.
Yeah, it'll be soon.
7-8 months. So the question was, is JayZ retired? And he's like, what does retirement look like for JayZ? And he was like answering the same way I answered this question multiple times. It's like, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, he was like how he jumped the gun that time. I don't remember how many years ago when he said he retired. Yeah. And then he was like, yeah, no, I really didn't. Because like you came back with an album or something after.
But I think it would be like, when I say I'm retired, it doesn't mean I'm done working. He does the same thing. It's like, I thought retirement meant doing nothing. I'm not doing making an album. He's like, no, I like making music. I enjoy making music. So when I say I retired, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm not making music. Mm-hmm. It just means I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because I have to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's like, even with my job, I'm not retired from working. I'm just I'm retired from having to work for somebody else. And retirement for him didn't mean like laying on the beach. Retirement for me doesn't mean laying on the beach every single day. Retirement meant just taking a break from what I was doing every single day, and now doing it for myself, doing it for my family, and doing it at my leisure. So taking a break and figuring out exactly what you want to do.
And deciding what your new normal is. Basically.
What your new normal is, yeah.
Yeah, the beach would be me. But valuing your time more than anything. So I thought about that. What's that song he got? I'm not leaving nobody's. Oh my God, it's the line that he used. I'm not leaving nobody's my home for nothing. He used it in some record when they didn't make it to Kanye and Kim's wedding.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm
was that a shot at Kanye?
I don't know. But anyway, I think
he did say something like I'm not leaving my home for nobody's nothing, something like that.
Anyway, he put it in the song. But anyway, he said it as well, like about valuing his time more than anything. And Tony was like, yeah, you see why I don't want to go out? Because most of the times that we go out or do stuff is because I'm like, all right, let's roll. We're going to do it. If it's up to Tony, he would be in the house.
Family Feud.
Family Feud. Okay, you got the line? What did he say? What's the line?
God.
How you find the song then?
I typed in and I said I'm not leaving nobody's home for nothing. Okay. So
but we knew what he meant. At least it insinuated what he meant. But about time is just best spent with family and house since he's having kids. Because Kevin Hart asked him, like, has your life or perspective changed since having kids? He's like, absolutely. He's like, I value my time even more now. Like, if I'm leaving my house, what is it for? I'm questioning, what is it for? He didn't say it only had to be, like, to make money or anything. But he's just like, if I'm leaving my family, I'm taking time away from my family. So it needs to make sense for me. And I feel like that's exactly how Tony feels about it. When I be trying to have him do things or go somewhere, he's like, but for what? Like, so I'm not going to be with you and Alani. I'm going to be doing this. So, yeah.
That is a very important
saying
point.
no to projects.
You
still looking for it?
So this is when he's also talking about Beyonce. He's like, my house was in shambles pretty much. He's like, I'm not leaving nobody's home for nothing.
Mm-hmm. But we know. They're going to know.
It was definitely Family Feud. I'm going to watch it and I'm going to listen to it and we're going to get it eventually.
And just stop giving everyone your time.
Yeah.
Because you can't get time back. I don't think people understand that.
The importance of saying no.
Yeah.
The importance of saying no to things. Like we've gotten to that point where we realize we can't do everything. I'm always trying to figure out how we can do more. But at the end of the day, the more things you say yes to, the less time you have with your family. And the whole purpose of us doing all of this stuff is to have more time to spend with our family. So I'm saying yes to other things. I know that I have to say no to my family. I have to say no to Alani. I have to say no to Janelle. I have to say no to my household. So when you start saying no, you realize you're saying yes to your family. But when you say yes to everybody else, you're saying no to the home. So that's very important. And he realized that after he has
3 kids.
Blue Ivy's like he mentioned, I didn't realize the value of time and how fast time goes until he had his first kid. And I'm recognizing that. I think we say that all the time. Like now Alani's rolling over and she's
Kicking,
mimicking,
grabbing, and
how the hell she mimicking me at 4 months? It's like, yo, you were just born, and I don't think you really
so crazy until you have. I mean, I always.
Wow, she's just really just.
I'm sorry.
You see how she cuts me off, guys?
Y'all recognize this in the about it. Go ahead, finish up. Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought now.
Oh man, sorry.
So you don't recognize, I think when you are a parent, you really recognize the value of that time because you're seeing it play out in a human and you see them transforming every single day. Go ahead, Janelle, but you obviously got something to drop.
No, it's not a drop. It's not a gem. I don't want you to put that pressure on me. No, I was just saying, like, I would notice it, like, with cousins. Like, okay, I remember when you were born and then now you're this age, but just going through it, like you said, with your daughter is just a game changer.
Because you're seeing this person every single day as they evolve, as they grow. So valuing the no's is very important. So valuing your time. So knowing the information versus executing on. This is another huge gem that he dropped. Like he mentioned where he had a song where he talked about like healing wounds. And he never healed his own wounds, but his friend, his close friend, he finally healed the wounds with his mom, and he's like, yo, I created the music, I created the song, but I never did it myself. So having that information is important, but the execution of that information you receive is even more important. This applies to our life every single day.
All the time.
We drop information every single day. We get information. Like we just said, we had a coaching call, and I immediately got off that coaching call and applied it to this podcast we're doing now. And it's like, you could have all the information in the world, but if you're not executing on it, it's a waste of information, a waste of time,
energy,
resources. So having the information and executing it is two different things, and we got to be mindful of that. You guys listen to our podcast, we talk about these gems we dropped, or you guys listen to the podcast or get the course or whatever, and you don't execute on the information, you're just hoarding. You're not doing anything with it. You're just literally hoarding the information, doing nothing with it.
I was going to say that too. Like, we speak about that all the time with the course when people ask that, you know, what's guaranteed for me, or how can I make sure A, B, and C? And I'm like, well, I don't know what you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
People take the course and do nothing with it. That's their prerogative. But some people, if you execute, I'm sure you can see a big difference in your life if you go ahead and do something with it. So yeah, it is something that we speak on daily.
And then another part of that was execution. He mentioned like everybody likes that big announcement. Everybody wants that big announcement post. Like, oh, I just launched my cleaning business. Oh, I just launched my podcast. Oh, I just launched my Instagram page. Oh, I just launched whatever business, or but where's the execution behind it? After that happens and the hype dies down, where are you with that, whatever that journey was? You launched that podcast, all right? We was hype about it. We was planning out we had this whole 4-week game plan. All right, we're going to announce it this way. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But what happens after that? Where are you? I don't know how many weeks in, how many episodes in we are now, but where are you after that name drop, after that huge announcement drop? Where's the execution behind that? So don't just get hype around that big announcement post. Do something behind it. Keep that thing going, because the execution is more important than the information. So go ahead. What up?
Ooh, sorry, something's in my eye. Things don't happen to you, they happen for you. Now, that was one that's been going around.
Yep.
Things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And I just think about all those people that make excuses about things happening to them, and control the controllable. Now, if you don't know, I'm a mental health therapist, and that is something that I say in therapy to the clients. Control the controllable. And I know you're like, it sounds so basic and it's easier said than done, but there's so many things in our lives that we don't have control over, and we stress and worry about it. And it's kind of like, if I could just focus on the things that I can, that may help to move things around in life for me. So things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And I also feel like that's like you doing the work of it as well, right? It's not just, I don't know, I can't even think of an example. It's not just like, all right, I got this course. Now, all right, you need to do it. You need to do more to it. You need to do more towards it. So
yeah. That goes back to...
That's all you had, yeah?
yeah. That goes back to the last part we just said. So executing the information, control what you can control. And he mentioned looking at things from their position. So things happen to you, right? So I got a DM or email today. A person was asking about this information, and they say, oh yeah, I got it last year, but my mom, my dad, my family, my this, that, and the third. And I was like, understood. What do you need? I was like, you could tell me all the things that's happening to you.
Are we not the ones for that?
But I'm like, all right, what are you here for? How can I help you? How can I assist you in moving forward? Because all that stuff is great. Like, I could sit here and we could have not recorded because my grandmother passed, or we could have not done things because Alani's here. We could have been too busy. But at the end of the day, things happen to you.
Things are always going to happen, though. That's the other part of it too.
Yeah.
Life is going to keep lifing. So.
Exactly. So content creators are storytellers. So we always talk about creating content. You see us creating content all the time. And what was the gem for that? So everyone needs a story. That's how they learn. So everyone needs a story. Like, we're storytellers, right? At the end of the day, if we're creating content, we are all storytellers in some way, shape, or form. If you have a business, you are a storyteller. If you are an entrepreneur, you have a storyteller. You are a storyteller. If you have a side hustle, you are a storyteller. If you are making money at your 9 to 5, you are a storyteller, because I'm going to tell you right now how.
I'm waiting.
So listen. So if I have a resume, where's my resume?
Okay, me telling a story of my life.
A story of my life. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get a job. I'm doing an interview. What am I doing?
Telling the story of the work I've done.
Exactly. Even at your 9 to 5, you are telling a story.
Like you were like, what's 1 + 1? When you were a kid, and I'm like,
you got it. But that's exactly what we are. We are storytellers by nature. So that's all we're doing. He mentioned like using his rap career to tell stories. Like that's all. He's a content creator. We're all creators of content in some way, shape, or form. My resume tells my story from when I started my career in IT to when I ended my career in IT. When I'm in an interview, I'm telling you my story of how I went through those struggles, or how I got the business out to do this and do that. That's all we're doing is creating content. We are creating stories. We are telling stories about our life. So at the end of the day, everyone is a storyteller, which means that everyone's a content creator.
I hear you, brother.
So
he also was saying that he don't do that social media stuff. So
we tell stories in different ways. At the end of the day.
Exactly.
We tell stories in different ways.
He's rapping about it where we're on Instagram and social media and YouTube.
Exactly.
Oh, you give this example. Do you have here about the grape and the watermelon?
Is there?
Would you rather have 100% of a grape or 50% of a watermelon? Think about it. This is me letting you guys think about it. So would you rather have 100% of grape or 50% of a watermelon? Basically speaking on, and I think a lot of times Tony has to point this out to me when we're speaking about different things with the people that we work with, of like, yes, it may not be this amount, but if you look at it this way, you're kind of getting more. When you think about the watermelon example versus the grape, obviously because the watermelon is bigger than a grape. So 50% of watermelon, you're getting more. So JayZ was speaking about like, we're trained to have that mindset of it needs to be 100%. And if it's not 100% of something, we're like, we failed at it. And I think he was speaking about when he had to deal with, I forgot the brand, LVMH.
Yeah.
LVMH with the Ace of Spades. And he had 100% of Ace of Spades at one point, he was saying.
He had bought into
100%?
No. He said he sold off 50%.
He sold off 50% of it, and it made him more money than him having just a full 100%, basically. So another thing, with the Barclays, and was it him owning the Barclays, I think, when people found out he had only like 3%?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's it.
So we went off on, we talked about this ownership thing, right? So Beyonce got us into equity, which is fantastic. We want equity, but we don't need 100% equity, 100% ownership and everything. What JayZ was back in the day when we was Brooklyn, when they were bringing the Brooklyn Nets to Barclays, they would bring the Brooklyn Nets to Brooklyn, New Jersey Nets to Brooklyn, and the Barclays Center to Brooklyn.
Just opening
and
up.
JayZ was the owner. JayZ was the face of this whole movement, right? And we found out that JayZ didn't have a huge percentage. It was like between 1 to 5% of the ownership stake in the Nets or the Barclays Center, whatever this big project was.
Right.
And we started talking down to us like, yo, you don't got ownership in this. You over here preaching. You don't even got that much ownership. But at the end of the day, his 1 to 5% of whatever that project was made him more money than having any percentage of it. At the end of the day,
how much do you have?
Exactly. We didn't have any percentage of it. And we was downplaying the amount of ownership he had, which got him to that next level. And we talk about this ownership stake. He was able to take that project and now say, all right, I want to be able to, he's talking about like owning a football team or bringing a team to Vegas or something like that. He was able to bring a basketball or help bring a basketball team or be the face of bringing a basketball team to his home, his home city, his birth city that he was born and raised in. And at the end of the day, even if it was 1 or 5%, he was able to do that. That's something that he was able to like put his name on and stamp of approval that he was able to do throughout these years. So these shit just dropping mad comments when I'm talking over here. mad ad-libs. I'm like, you ain't doing it. I'm over here trying to stay focused.
I said me neither though.
Me neither. None of this. You ain't doing it. So I'm over here trying to get the point across. But I think you guys got the whole gist of it.
You'll take the last bullet?
I'll take the last bullet. And I think we stopped at this. We stopped the interview on this part and listened to a lot and just went back and forth on the conversation. So pushing each other to a bigger space. Pushing each other, pushing us, us being the black community. And why don't we work at one table versus each of us doing our own thing? And that was I think they could have spent. That could have been a whole interview
I think
itself.
they ended it with that too, if I'm not mistaken.
And Kevin Hart alluded to they're having these conversations, but we all have a bunch of little things that we're doing individually instead of us doing one big thing together. And the main reason we're not doing that is because of ego. Even at their multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar level, It's ego.
Well,
At our
the egos are probably bigger there.
Yeah, egos are probably bigger. More ownership, more things at stake. And even at our $1 million level or 6-figure or, 5-figure level, it's ego. No matter what level you at, and especially in our community, is ego. Instead of us coming together and building one thing, we are building a bunch of little things. And imagine if we all put our resources together. You got the Kevin Harts, you got the JayZs, you got the Oprahs, you got the Tyler Perrys,
Meek Mill.
You got the... All right, Meek Mill, and they came together and at one table, and they said, "We're going to build this. We're going to build our own team. We're going to build our own stadium. We're going to build our own whatever it may be." Versus, I'm going to get an own piece of ownership stake in the Jets, or I'm going to do a little bit of Philadelphia Eagles, or I'm going to do a little bit of the Knicks. Like us coming together and doing our own thing. Us coming together and doing one thing versus us doing a whole bunch of little things.
Why haven't you come together with your people?
I think we're always putting the ideas out there to come together. I think ego plays a part of it too. Like even when we had, even when we had, like we used to do these pool parties back in, not pool, but even we used to do these big events back in New York City, these big barbecues. And when we were doing it, we was like, we don't want to make it too big because, we already had the assumption that somebody's not going to pull their weight. We wasn't even making no money from the events. It's like, I don't want to bring these people on because we know they're not going to pull the weight based off of this, that, and the third. Or I'm going to have to do more. And now was some of that true? Absolutely. But we were able to do something bigger together than we would have been able to do individually. One-on-ones. Or even if we broke it up to multiple groups. So even though there was no ownership, there was nothing at stake here, which made it a lot more fluid. But when you start putting money, even into our last events, when we started making money, we started disassociating people. We started moving people. They're not gonna do it, so let's remove them. They're not gonna do it because we don't want to put
20 people in the pot when it could just be 10 for the people that's doing the work.
Exactly. We know 10 people are going to do the work. Why do we have 20 people on the brand? Why do we have 20 people in the names? All right, so we're gonna give you a free bottle here. We're gonna give you a free entry for some people. We're gonna give you this. You still get to keep your name, but you don't get that equity stake in with the event itself. Ooh. And there was no money. It was when it became money involved, the ego started to play.
Then it dissolved.
And then eventually fizzled out and we stopped doing it. So even at their levels, like we can do these things, but you had mentioned nobody wants to make the first move.
Somebody has to grab.
Go ahead. What's your quote?
No. Somebody has to be a leader and grab the bull by its horns. Somebody has to be the leader at some point, and in any group, if you think about any group, it's not even somebody being like cocky or demanding or anything like that. In any group you can think of, any friendship group, somebody has to be the leader and say, okay, this is what we're doing. If not, you're going to in circles of what you're doing, what you're buying, what drink you want, somebody has to take it on. And so I think that's the big deal. So, and nobody, a lot of times, like, I don't want to take on all of that.
Yeah.
Because now it all falls on me. Everybody's looking at me like, and if it fails, everybody's looking at me. But you ain't doing that neither.
But you got to have somebody that's going to take that ownership stake. You got to have that risk taker in every group. And like my boy Sajad, when we're talking about traveling all the time, he's like, yo, I'm going to go if you come or not. So I'm going to put the idea out. We're going to go to London, right? I'm going to buy my ticket.
If you come, you come.
If you come, you come. This is a group decision. We could all go together, but regardless, I'm going to go by myself. I'm going to risk my money. I'm still going to go. I'm going to have the experience. And if you want to come, you could come. And people dropping out like flies. I was one of those people that dropped out like flies all the time. I was like, I'm down. They were some of this like, everybody wants to travel until the first person asks like, yo, what's the money? What's the payment? It's like,
you be one of those?
Yeah, I was like,
that's embarrassing.
I just never wanted to travel like that. Wasn't my thing.
So then why did you say you was going to go? Because I would have known you wasn't going.
They didn't know. I always said I wanted to go. But again, you need that person going to take that risk. Like, yo, regardless if you do this with me or not, I'm going to find a way to make it happen. If I could bring people to my table and we continue to build that table or not, if we got 5 people sitting at this table right here and then one person drops out, I was like, yo, I'm going to just replace you with somebody else. And he did that with multiple trips. He was like, all right, Anthony dropped out. I'm going to bring one of my other friends. This person dropped out. I'm going to bring one of these other friends. But you need someone to take that risk. That's all it. I think that's what it really is. Putting egos aside. So
all in all, we truly enjoy the conversation. I mean, Kevin Hart is one of your favorite people. So JayZ being from Brooklyn, he has to be one of our favorite people regardless. That's just part of being from Brooklyn. But it was an interesting conversation. If you didn't get to watch it, you should check it out. Interesting interview. Wanted like more from it. I still wanted more from it. I felt like there could be more, but it was 45 minutes is what you can get from it. So hopefully you enjoyed our gems and what we picked up from it. As usual, I want to encourage you to make sure that you're subscribing to our YouTube, commenting, sharing, letting others know that we have a podcast. I mean, there's billions of people in this world. We could be impacting a lot more people. Thank you for those that are leaving a comment. Please make sure that you, not leaving a comment, start writing a review. Please make sure that you stop and review us, or while you're listening to us, go ahead and drop us a review. Helpful for us as we continue to grow and hope to get some sponsorships coming up soon. So yes.
Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for listening, but also take action, man. If you don't take nothing away from this show, take some action, take some notes, share it, create content around it, help somebody else out, share the information, because the only way that we grow is if we know. So appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Later, guys.
This has been an episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Janilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money. Get that